Thank you, Lucio. I'd like to thank the organizers for accepting this panel proposal. I'm sharing the screen right now. Okay, I hope that everybody can see.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thanks a lot. So basically, the idea was trying to articulate the study of the celebrity in a twofold way. So first and foremost, in a socio-semiotic perspective, and then with a focus on our specific subject of study, which is the face. There is a noble and ancient tradition in this field, and actually, I want to be really quick in this introduction, but I cannot skip saying that actually, if we look at the history of social sciences and what would become contemporary semiotics, actually these disciplines were born studying celebrities and studying their faces. If we think of Edgar Morin, Les Stars, or classic Roland Barthes mythology. And this is not a coincidence, because celebrities and their body and their presence and their appearance and their face is a really perfect socio-semiotic topic to study, because it's precisely, if we follow the definition of socio-semiotic, a place where society mirrors itself, producing models and exemplary cultural tokens, or texts, as we say in semiotic jargon. I will be really very fast in this quick introduction. Within Facets, we are studying the face in very different ways, always under the umbrella of the semiotic approach, but we are studying the physiognomy, we are studying the digital renditions of the face, and we're going to see something today with Bruno Surace, who is proposing something about deep fakes. And actually, we're concentrating on the face as a field where textuality and forms of life collide, I would say. And actually, I myself have just started studying a kind of celebrity, a type of celebrity, which is popular musicians. So I did a bit, I studied a bit how the face can convey the form of life that is projected onto it. I studied masked musicians and musicians proposing very different types of imageries and so on and so forth. And so actually, I'm very glad to have the possibility to talk about Kanye West, because I think that is a really key figure in our contemporary culture, and not only in the field of study of celebrity studies. I myself personally do not like so much this musician, but nevertheless, I really think that On Points is a figure that we have to study, because he has a central position in our contemporary culture and in music, and not only music. So why Kanye West? Again, yes, Kanye West is, if one would think to what being a celebrity today would mean, I think that Kanye West is a good portrait, is a good subject to be studied under this perspective, because he has it all. He is polymorphic, and is at the crossroads, at the junction of very different ways of approaching the topic of studying celebrities. So music, but also entrepreneurship, internet and social media, the celebrity market per se. So those people who are generally defined as they're famous for being famous, and so on and so forth. So being so larger than life, and so ubiquitous, I would say. Kanye West is interesting because of the contradictions that he portrays. So from the one hand, he's a influential musician, he's a successful entrepreneur, is definitely a controversial figure, and in particular opinion maker and also a politician, and is an internet personality, and in much more general terms, a cultural icon. So in my opinion, Kanye West is really a kind of super celebrity to study. It is interesting that the richest book to date about Kanye West, called The Cultural Impact of Kanye West, published in 2015, actually does not portray him as a celebrity in the strict sense of the definition, but rather as a cultural icon. Still, Kanye West is used as a kind of pretext, is a kind of palimpsest, an excuse to deal with a lot of issues that concern American culture, in particular Black culture today. So the aesthetics, the politics, gender issues, and so on and so forth. So even though the most important reference book to date does not deal with Kanye in this respect, I will do that. So I think that today Kanye West is definitely not only a cultural icon, but also a celebrity, and is a celebrity that has enlarged his field of intervention upon culture in a really fascinating way. So he started as a music maker, as a musician, as a producer, and I would say a geek producer, a cult figure in the field of musical production. And then he struggled, just like I would say Battisti in a certain way. He struggled to affirm himself as a musician, as an autonomous author. He published his debut in 2004. It was called The College Dropout, and he kind of patented this musical style that became really very influent, not only in the realm of hip-hop music, but also in popular music tout court. And since then, this way of dealing with soul voices and production tricks became a kind of standard, a new shared common language that it was popular not only in rap music, but also in pop music. I will just present you some notes. I will not be so structured, and so many things should be said about Kanye West. So this is just a really general outline. In a socio-semiotic perspective, we try to find the consistency that holds together all the different layers of the identity of the icon, of the celebrity, of the musician, of the subject in general. So we have to put different layers of what is the semiotic production of Kanye West together in order to make sense of it. It is really fundamental to understand what Kanye West became and how is considered today. The idea that he worked and reworked a lot his own voice by popularizing and making autotune what it is today. So not just a functional tool that makes it possible to correct pitch intonation, but rather a stylistic feature. And we owe that, or we can point to Kanye in this respect. So he's the major responsible of this fashion. His most popular album that really exploited in all its richness this tool, the autotune, is 808 and Heartbreak from 2008, a true epic of autotune that obviously generated a lot of parodies because of its peculiar recognizability. So the style is so strong that it's really easy to be mocked. And that what happened with a very famous parody proposed by South Park in 2009. And this is a very specific and important feature in Kanye West public figure, the fact that it's so big and huge and noisy that it's really easy to be satirized, because his I would say stylistic but also existential features are so strong that they are all already marked, and they are already so prominent. Obviously, if we talk about the musical production of Kanye West, the main turning point is his masterpiece, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy from 2010, the only album to date that's being rated 10 out of 10 by the hipster Bible of music journalism, Pitchfork. We would be, maybe a book should be written about not only the album, but the short movie, the 30 minutes short movie that was used as a kind of extravaganza teaser or trailer to the album, called Runaway. It's really a kind of carnival of postmodern style and ideology. I would just say that as an art director, Kanye West called Vanessa Beecroft, and I think that this makes it clear the dimension, the scope of this project, which made his musical career explode. But Kanye became a true celebrity after his kinship, after he started dating Kim Kardashian, who is the perfect embodiment of this notion of famous for being famous. And then so we cannot skip, we cannot separate, detach the fact that Kanye is a celebrity for everything that he's doing from one point on in his career. He became the highest paid hip hop artist and the second richest celebrity in the US. So he became a celebrity not only in the field of music, but rather in general terms. His way of behaving and considering himself and self-representing himself is really peculiar and proverbial, I would say. His fandom and he himself considers him as a genius. And this is a thing that the media have underlined a lot, as much as his erratic behavior, which is proverbial too, and that acquired a new meaning when he revealed that he is actually bipolar. And there are some theories in Black studies, for example, in sociological Black studies, that underline the fact that he's being dismissed by the media underlying his pathology. This is interesting, and he's not the only celebrity that undergoes a kind of treatment of this kind. I want to go fast in order not to be late. Okay, we can concentrate on this kind of palimpsest that I was referencing before, which is the face. Actually, if we follow all the changes that the face of Kanye West has underwent across time, we can really map his evolution as a musician and as a cultural icon. Obviously, he popularized this 80s fashion of the shutter shades. He used a mask since the beginning of his career, because he was a masked bear in the cover artwork of his musical debut from 2004, The College Dropout. And he wore a lot of disguises and masks. The most famous one, perhaps, is this really Spider-Man-like Margiela mask. But the very groundbreaking, the very first groundbreaking stance in the visual domain of the personality of Kanye West is definitely this very, very famous picture by David LaChapelle, which was put in the cover of this issue of Rolling Stone from 2006, which is a kind of encyclopedia of references from pop culture, going from Muhammad Ali on the cover of Esquire to the classic portrait of Jim Morrison of Jesus Christ, and so on and so forth. This is a very interesting isotopy, semantic recurrence that we find in recent years concerning Kanye West, but we cannot delve into it so much. I entitled the presentation Kanye West Smile because actually for a lot of time, for a lot of years, Kanye West did not smile in public. And he revealed that this is a precise communicative strategy, a kind of way of embodying this contradiction that he constantly refers to and that he wants to underline. So he simply wanted to be exposed to the public, but not to the paparazzi and to the media system. And he actually, even from this little episode, we can infer that Kanye is not able to detach, to separate public and private life, because he presented this new bottom row of teeth that he was lacking due to an old accident, as he was premiering a kind of a new video clip or new album or new production of his at Ellen DeGeneres show. And I will go towards the conclusion by discussing a bit the visual paraphernalia of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which are so programmatic and so explicit that they go beyond symbolic. They are very explicit in trying to illustrate the title itself and the personality of Kanye as he wants to be portrayed. West commissioned a series of paintings to George Condo, a very famous American painter. And eventually the published renditions of his artworks were 5 or 6 according to the different versions of the album. The most famous one is the most unseen one, because actually it was censored with this strange pixelation, and it portrayed this sex scene between a demon and a devilish angel, and it is questioned if this is a kind of portrait of Kanye or not, but definitely we find 2 other portraits of Kanye in the artwork that are really explicit and again full of references to other pieces of culture. For example, this one is pretty obviously a reference to the cover of the first album by King Crimson, In the Court of the Crimson King, also because a track included in the album samples the refrain of 21st Century Schizoid Man. And as anybody has commented on this picture, this is a really programmatic way of portraying the conflict and the struggle of the celebrity in being represented, wanting to be represented, and at the same time not wanting to be represented in a certain way or in a cliched way. And yes, I think that it's really programmatic as a portrait. And then there are other two pictures included in the artwork, also made by Kondo, that again portray Kanye as a kind of defeated king, and then as a disappeared king. I don't have the time to comment more, but I just want to conclude by saying that as time goes by, Kanye is really more and more becoming obsessed by his own image, and there are a few episodes that are really, I would say, explicit in this way. For example, the presentation of the song taken from the album Jesus from 2013 called The New Slaves. This song didn't receive a intersemiotic translation into a video clip, but rather it was presented in more than 60 public places across the world in June 2013, and the projected audiovisual material that was employed was just a series of barcodes, recipes, and prices, and then the face of Kanye talking and singing. The song is about racism, but I would say that is mainly about materialism and how this lifestyle is kind of eating out the Americans and also the black people by imitation, by matter of imitation. So Kanye is really overinterpreted in my opinion. A lot of theorists in Black studies, but not only in Black studies, are kind of trying to find a deeper meaning in what he does. And this is interesting precisely because it is talking about a narrative that we as scholars are applying to what he does. Everything he does is read in a symbolic way, in an allegorical way. This is something that we have to take into account. I will just conclude by saying that considering all the road that Kanye has underwent as a cultural icon, it is not so surprising that everything that he does is under the spotlight. And one of the internet memes that struck me the most, and that was considered a kind of symbol of the way in which the pandemic was handled at the very beginning. It is no coincidence portraying Kanye and his, I would say, decreasingly happy or increasingly worried smile, and again in a kind of allegorical function. And it is no coincidence that this meme is talking about a celebrity, and that this celebrity is Kanye, precisely Kanye West. So thank you for the attention. I hope that I wasn't so late in my presentation. And
okay.
Thanks a lot for listening, and I will give the floor to, I think, Bruno.